Okay, I'm Lu Cooke. I'm a senior lecturer in conservation and I direct the MA Conservation Studies and MA Conservation of Historic Buildings degrees. So we have two MAs in conservation, and what is unique about that is that we teach conservation within an archaeology department. So we bring a really broad range of humanities and social sciences and hard sciences together in thinking about buildings, how we study them from the past, how we maintain them in the present, but also then how we think about their conservation and management for the future as well. So we're unique amongst the sort of range of postgraduate programmes looking at conservation and heritage within the UK. We've also been teaching conservation at York for the last 50 years. So the very first conservation course was established in 1972. So we've got this great legacy of teaching in York. And that's brilliant because it means that we've got this network of alumni all the way around the world who we can draw on and bring into our teaching through case studies and projects and just networking. So York is a really unique city to work in and have this opportunity to get this experience of thinking about the planning decisions that are impacting the city, because we have got these different layers of history within the city. And as a small walled city, we have got an amazing quantity of historic buildings from the medieval period all the way through to our important 20th century heritage. And of course, all of that is happening within the shadow of York Minster and within the city walls as well. So that's a really unique experience for students who want to come and study conservation and are thinking about the sort of practical applications of conservation within a historic city like York, but also places in the UK and other places around the world which have that similar historic core. So King's Manor is a beautiful medieval building, and it's also got an amazing 1960s addition as well. So we will be using King's Manor in different seminars, different sessions where we think about the conservation challenges for a building like this, but we also think about how that adaptation in the 1960s has changed the way in which we engage with King's Manor. We'll also be thinking about some of the institutional challenges around conserving a grand medieval and later building such as King's Manor, and what that position in the centre of York as an important historic building, but also as part of the university, means in terms of its significance and how we think about that sort of future conservation of the building. So the two conservation studies programmes are unique in the way they combine sort of theoretical approaches but also practical approaches as well. And those practical approaches come in a variety of different forms. It could be the practical work around assessing building materials and assessing building material needs. So how do you actually think about condition and then conservation planning? So we'll use case studies to explore those. But then there's also those other sets of skills that conservation professionals need. So skills around looking at different materials, how you use them, how you specify them, and what are the sort of challenges in terms of traditional crafts in conservation. Then there's a whole other range of sort of sector skills that you need in terms of managing group work, managing projects. So some of those softer skills, but also some of those core conservation skills. And we package and design our modules so that you'll be doing a little bit of that in all of our different modules, so that you then might use those skills in your dissertation project, so your own independent work, and you can use those as portfolio pieces when you're then applying for work. Our other range of skills comes from the set of skills that you need to be working within planning or within those roles as being a heritage consultant. And students get the opportunity to work with the York Civic Trust on what we call our Heritage Planning Studio. And that's an opportunity for students to get involved with the planning work that the York Civic Trust do. And through weekly sessions, you'll be exposed to some of those sort of decision-making processes. You'll think about what it's like to be writing a letter, responding to planning applications. And then you'll also be thinking about how you sort of research some of the sort of advantages and disadvantages of some of those projects that are proposed. And from that, students can also then get involved with other projects in the city as well. So all the time, students are building up a range of skills which are really vital for work within the conservation sector. Okay, so our graduates from the 2 conservation degrees go on and work in quite a wide range of roles. Some will go and work in the private sector, working as heritage consultants, so perhaps doing the work to support planning applications, in developing heritage statements, so researching buildings and thinking about the sort of consequences of proposed works. We then have other students who want to go on and work in planning departments, developing roles as conservation officers. So at the receiving end of all of those heritage statements, really thinking about the impact of change on historic buildings and in conservation areas, as an example. We then have a number of students who will go on and work in some of the local or national heritage bodies. As a degree, we have about a third of our students come and study with us who are international students as well. And those students are taking that set of skills they've learnt in York and applied within the historic city in York, and are going and using those in different contexts, for example, in North America, in Canada, in India, a variety of different countries around the world where our alumni are now practicing within either planning, within conservation roles, or within conservation architecture roles as well. And again, within that sort of international pool, we can draw on that sort of 50 years of alumni from the programme, and we find that networking is really important when students are thinking about the next role in terms of their career journey.